midnight tokers, afternoon hailers, and AM hookah smokers. This is the AM Hookah Podcast, your number one stop for all hookah podcasting stuff right here on YouTube every single Monday at 6:30 Central Standard Time. I am your host of this little venture, and joining me, as always, is the man, the myth, the legend, Adrian Hunter. How are you doing this week, my friend?
What's up, guys? I'm doing good. Chilling out. Smoking some hookah.
Yeah.
A little overwhelmed because I walked into this room and there's like 90 people here. I'm sure you'll explain that later. I got some good hookah going. I'm excited to continue a conversation we started like 7 days ago.
Yeah.
At exactly this time. So
yeah, today we have a really fun day planned. We're gonna be joined with a lot of people, the most people that we've ever had on the AM Hookah Podcast actual like show. Like we did the really cool.
Are you not counting the voices in my head?
Well, not usually, because only you usually hear them. We only hear them after the fact sometimes. But
understood.
We are going to be joined by some awesome people today. We're going to be joined by Bracken, our producer. We're going to be joined by Paul, the admin over at Hookah University. And we're also going to be joined by Tony, one of the moderators over at Hookah University as well. We're going to be talking to them about a lot of things, including Tangiers. We're going to be playing a fun Guess That Pack game, the same game that we played back in the day with Jeremy when he came on in Season 3. And then we're also going to be witnessing, I hope not the death of our good friend Tony, but he's going to be partaking in the One Chip Challenge. That's going to happen here in just a little bit. But before we get too far along with that, Adrian, could you please let the younger audience members know what they should or shouldn't be doing on today's episode?
Hi, kids. Welcome to the AM Hookah Podcast. If you looked up when I said hi, kids, you're probably a child. You should leave because in most states it's 18 and some it's even 21. You should know what the age of legally smoking tobacco is in your state. And if you don't, you're probably a minor. Get the fuck out. And if you're of age, welcome to the AM Hookah Podcast.
Yes.
That should do it, right?
That was
you probably have homework. Go talk to your mother. I usually say that.
That was wonderful. That was if you're under the age of 18 or 21, depending on your state in which you are in, if you're not allowed to smoke hookah, please do not watch a podcast based around hookah. That's basically the main part of it.
That's a really good mantra. I like that.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard. If you can't do it, don't watch a show about it. I don't know. Fuck it. So we are, like I said, we're going to be doing all sorts of things. We're going to kick it off by welcoming onto the show right away a bunch of the people that we have already waiting in the sidelines. So we're going to welcome them all one at a time. I'm going to bring them onto the show, and you're going to be able to see them all right now. But we're joined right now by our producer, Bracken Cox. We're joined by Paul of Hookah University admin, and we're also joined by Tony, the moderator over at Hookah University. How are you fine fellas doing today? Let's not all talk at once. So Bracken, how are you doing on this wonderful week of the AM Hookah Podcast?
I'm doing good. I'm doing dandy. Packed a bowl, and I'm smoking it.
Very nice, very nice. Paul, how about you? How are you doing today?
Hello, everybody. I'm doing very good today. I'm smoking. Very nice. Very nice clubs.
Very nice, very nice. And Tony, our good friend as well, is joining us. How are you doing, Tony?
It's going pretty good, eh?
Yes, Tony is our...
doing all the good stuff. Thanks for having me on. Long time admirer of your show and pretty dope to be on here. So thank you.
Oh, well, we're so happy to have you on the show today. Originally, the reason why we brought you on the show was because a friend of mine did the One Chip Challenge, that really, really hot, spicy chip that people eat, and it's really hot, and they say, like, I regret my life. Why did I do this? Blah, blah, blah. And there it is, the One Chip Challenge. You told me that you had survived the One Chip Challenge beforehand, and I basically challenged you to do it again to show everybody that you're able to do it. So before we do that, we're going to do that in just a little while, but before we do that, I want to ask everybody in the chat, if you are able to go and make a post right now to your favorite social media avenue place, Facebook group, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you want to, go on there real quick if you could, and just drop in, hey, we have Tony from Hookah University. He's going to be doing a One Chip Challenge. Let them know that that's going to be happening here within the next 5 minutes or so. And while we prepare for that, we're going to go ahead and talk about what it is we're smoking on today's episode. So please go and tell people we are going to be having the One Chip Challenge right here on the AM Hookah Podcast. And while we wait for that, let's go ahead and jump into what it is we are smoking. Adrian, why don't you kick it off? What are you smoking on today's episode?
Okay, check it out. So we're going to be talking about Tangiers a little bit today. So I figured I should pack some Tangiers. I could have packed a new flavor, but instead I packed chocolate mint. I got 75% chocolate mint and 25% what I'm going to call secret banana.
Secret
And
banana.
then I can't talk too much about that. And then I got an Hookah
I know what
John
it is.
80 feet bowl. Yeah, you do. I know everyone in this room probably knows what it is. I got a Hookah John 80 feet bowl on top of the matte pair today is what I decided to rock with instead of the alpha you guys saw last week. Matching hose, Neolux base, Prestige, coconut cubes in the top, 2 of them. I got 2 ready on deck for later. And yeah, that's what I'm smoking. It's delicious. It's like a chocolate banana extravaganza.
Yes, we are joined. Obviously, what we are smoking is brought to you by our proud sponsor, Prestige Bubbles Coconut Charcoal. I'm using the Jumbo
Charcoal cocoa.
Yeah, Charcoal Cocoa. I'm using the Jumbo Flats. I absolutely love them. You're using the cubes today. What about you, Bracken? What are you smoking on today's episode of the podcast?
Well, if you watched the pre-show, you know what I packed. If you didn't watch the pre-show, my first question is why didn't you watch the pre-show?
On Facebook.
Onto the Facebook /AM Hookah.
Yeah.
Join it. Be a part of it. I go live every Monday before the show. Shenanigans with the Bragg Daddy, as some people call it. The Pack Daddy Podcast, as others have referred to it as.
It's the real reason to even come here, honestly.
It's the ultimate, hey, pack a bowl. Hurry up. You're running late. Message. And today I packed a new Tangiers flavor, one of the new 9. I packed winter green. It was delicious. I smoked all of my cherry limeade, all of my summer resort, and I'm very sad that I don't have any more of those. But that means I got to open 2 new Tangiers flavors, and I opened chocolate iced cream and winter green, and I'm loving it.
How is that chocolate iced cream? Give me some flavor notes on that.
It tastes like chocolate,
Okay.
and it. I think Paul died a little bit. It has it. Okay, so it doesn't quite remind me of chocolate ice cream, but if like, I don't know, I grew up in Texas and it was really hot. So most of the time when we were eating ice cream, it was always half melted anyway. So it kind of reminded me of like melted ice cream a little bit.
Here's a question.
There was no cooling. It was just
dark side ice cream.
No, I haven't.
Okay, I was wondering if you could compare it to that. I'll have to have you try it so you can tell me all about it.
Yeah, I haven't had that yet. There's no cooling in it that I've picked up, but it does have a really nice chocolate taste. And the more you smoke it, it kind of turns more into creamy. I enjoyed it. I'm really digging this winter green, though. Really good.
Very nice. Very nice. What about you, Paul? What are you smoking on today's episode?
I am smoking orange soda, Burkook.
Your
I had it
favorite?
packed on a Relics ring. Smoking out of Pharaoh 1 with a Lux base.
Ooh,
And I'm using a Spire mouth tip.
very nice. Very nice. Keeping it classy as always. And then our good friend
Very good.
Tony, what are you smoking on today's episode?
I am the lone wolf that does not have Tangiers pack because I don't have any open at the moment. I do have some, I just don't have any open. But I'm smoking Peppermint Shake by Trifecta in the blonde through the DSH on the Neolux with 2 Cocoa Earth cubes on the Provost with a John 80-foot Resurrection Bowl.
We're all using our Spire mouth tips on today's episode. Shout out to David Harris of Spire.
Yeah.
Creating some really cool 3D printed items, and today we got Bracken over there rocking the mustache variation of it. Very, very cool stuff as usual. Want to give a big shout out to everybody out there in the chat. We appreciate everyone stopping by. I saw J-Rock hanging out. Paul's in there as usual. That guy, always good to see him as well. Captain Wetbeard, our wonderful Facebook moderator. We also got David Harris stopping by as well. How you doing, David Harris? Our main man, Pots and Pans. Bilu is in the house as usual as well. Oh, man, this is just going to be a fantastic time. I'm very, very excited to be doing the One Chip Challenge. I'm not doing it. I shouldn't say I'm excited to be doing it. I'm excited to be witnessing it because I think this is going to be a great
It's an important distinguisher, right? You're
Yeah.
not excited to do it. No, I don't think most people get excited to eat that chip.
He might. I don't know. Tony might be excited to eat this chip. He likes spicy things. Isn't that true, Tony?
I'm a spice addict. Like, it's just something about it. When you eat really spicy things like this, it gives you, I guess the correct term is an endorphin rush after.
So what you're saying
it
is you plan on getting high off of
No,
spice.
food will get you a little high.
Oh, my God.
A spice high.
if you eat spice to get high, man, like you got some other stuff going down, bro. Like,
Just munching on some ghost peppers as you wake up in the morning.
yeah,
Oh.
like, I'm sure there are people that are like
No.
that. They're probably at Area 51, just chilling. But
So
Understudy.
before we do the hot chip challenge, we are going to take a look at our Facebook picture of the week. Today's picture of the week is brought to you by Jesse over on our AM Hookah Facebook group, picked out by our wonderful Captain Wetbeard as well. This is a beautiful pipe. If you guys have not seen this before, I highly recommend. He posts about it all the time. In fact, on Sunday when he was watching the Saints play, he posted a gorgeous shot of this as well. This has just this beautiful white, milky, cloudy-looking vase. It's just beautiful. And then just a very nice old-school style Egyptian pipe. I'm assuming it's a KM. Maybe it's not a KM. I just, when I think Egyptian pipes, I instantly think KMs, but it's probably something else. So if somebody could correct me, I'd appreciate that. Does anybody know what Jesse's pipe is?
I think it's a Sheikah.
A Sheikah? All right.
That's a Sheikah.
Is it a Sheikah? All right.
Yeah, it's got a Urso tray with a Sheikah. Oh God, Thunderhead.
Underhose.
No, it's the hose is a Moses hose with a D hose handle.
Mhm.
It's got it on I think that's an Eggerman.
Eggerman, yes, that is what the vase is. Yes.
It's like a boho variant.
That is a sexy setup.
It might be an El Nefes base. I'm not sure. It's a little bit shorter.
David
In a
Harris just said
standard
that it's a Sheikah Megaheed.
Mega head. That's what
Megahead.
it is.
Yeah, it's
Yo,
just
that has gold
beautiful.
laces on the Derek Moses hose. That thing is sexy, boy.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
white-looking Derek
Oh,
Moses
yeah.
hose just looks stunning with that vase combination. Oh man, just beautiful. Thank you, Jesse, for sharing that with us. We really do appreciate it. If you guys want to be shouted out on the AM Hookah Podcast, all you got to do is watch for the prompt put together by our awesome Facebook moderator, Captain Wetbeard Austin. He does some sort of prompt every week, and he says, hey, post this picture, and we will maybe use it for the picture of the week. That's the one that won this week. If you guys want to have an opportunity to be shouted out, all you got to do is be looking for that prompt. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into this hot challenge. If you could please, Mr. Tony, go ahead and get us ready and prepared. And if you wanna tell
I
us
feel like those-
about this a little bit.
You know those Princess girls, like, here it is. Ooh.
I want
So-
you to
It
You know-
wasn't.
Tony was gonna do this like hot wings challenge in Vegas, and the owner of the restaurant convinced him not to do it
What?
because
Yeah.
he said that everybody that has tried the hot wings challenge that are foreigners had ended up in the hospital.
How does that chip smell, Tony? How does that chip smell?
Smells like peppers.
Now, are you going to be wearing gloves or anything when you touch this chip, or are you just?
No, you gotta lick your
So-
fingers, bro. I want to see it.
No, I'm not gonna lick my fingers.
it.
I will wash my hands after. Like, I'll mute myself and go wash my hands because I don't want to touch, parts of my body, specifically private parts. Well,
Go to the
after-
bathroom and then like
I would-
realize 5 minutes after that.
podcast.
Oh,
Can
it's
you do the
black.
can you do the head tilt
It looks like beef jerky.
after
Oh
you're
my
done
gosh,
eating it?
is that the chip?
Yeah, well, like it's in pieces, but yeah,
Are you gonna
Oh
eat the
man.
Are you gonna eat the whole chip for us today, Tony?
I'm gonna eat
Yes,
everything.
yes, he
bro.
is. He's gonna eat all of it.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
All
Count
right.
down.
Drum roll.
Bracken, drum roll. Do it.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness! Look at him go after it.
Oh yeah, there
This
it
is
is.
the hot chip
Now,
challenge.
don't
brought
touch
to you
your
by-
eyes.
Brought to you by
Oh.
Tony. How are you feeling? You got to walk us through this process a little bit. Explain what it is you're feeling. What are you feeling at the moment?
Yo, you got something on your eye. You should get that.
Um,
Oh, there it is.
it's not.
He said it's
It's
hot.
dry. The problem is it's dry, so it sticks to the back of your throat. But I'm getting a little bit of tears. My nose starting to run. It's not as bad as I would thought. Like, it's just my mouth is salivating really bad right now, so I have to keep swallowing. Pause. But
Phrasing.
it's there.
It's there. It's there. Is this hotter or less hot than the first time you did this?
It's hotter. It's definitely hotter than the first time I did it. And I got the hiccups.
Oh, yeah.
You asshole.
Oh my
Yo,
goodness.
take a puff of your hookah. Let's see if you can do it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's peppermint shake. It's peppermint shake. That should help you. That should help
Dumb,
you.
bro.
Oh, fall victim. Oh, he's touching the hose. He's gonna have to wash his hose now. Oh,
I
the
hope
mouth
some of that
tip. The mouth
spice
tip is
gets on
gonna
the
hold
tip.
the spice. He's gonna come back in a day or two, use the mouth tip, and be like, "Oh, it's hot. Oh."
It does not feel good to smoke.
That's so gross.
So this is not helping the flavor of peppermint shake, is what you're saying.
No, it hurts to
I'm
exhale.
crying.
It feels like we should have waited longer in the show.
I'm sweating pretty good. I'm sweating.
Oh my goodness.
I can't believe you did that.
That was good.
You haven't even.
Oh my
you
God,
haven't
I can't-
You haven't
I
even
wouldn't be
drank
able to
anything
last.
yet. You haven't even drank anything
This
yet.
is the AM Hookah Podcast. I only bring the best when I come.
Dude, that's pretty good. Like, you did way better than I would have done. I did the hot noodle challenge with my girlfriend. Man, I died. I must have drank a gallon of milk.
Oh my goodness, this is fantastic.
Sweating.
Oh my gosh, Tony, we appreciate you doing this and taking the one chip challenge so very much. We hope everyone is enjoying it. Please drop a like for the one chip challenge. Tony is surviving it, I think, and doing a
Beast.
bomb job. I think he's doing fantastic. This is amazing.
And notice,
Yeah.
not one drink of water. And by the way, I have no dairy in my house, so yeah.
It doesn't sound like you're having a good time. Yeah, your voice is definitely like
I'm just dealing
someone
with
just
the
kicked you in the
fact
nads or something. Like a little angry leprechaun just came up, kicked you in the shin. Trying
I
to
am a
hold it
leprechaun.
back.
I'm that tall, Bracken. What punches a leprechaun then? An ant?
Yes, an ant kicked you in the shin.
Ouch.
Oh, well, Tony, thank you so much. Do you want to go and get your hands washed real quick, and we'll
Yeah.
meet you back here in just a minute? All right, thank you so much. Make sure you guys drop a like for Tony for doing the one chip challenge. He's gonna go and get himself fixed up real quick, and then when he comes back, we'll do the what's
mad
in your
respect.
bowl. What's the packing game that we have planned for today's episode? We're also gonna be talking about Tangiers later on because we didn't get all the way in. If you didn't see last week's episode, Paul joined us last week, and we were talking about Tangiers and all sorts of things revolving around it. And we didn't get quite in depth like we thought we were going to. So we asked Paul to come back and to participate once again in the show so that we could talk more things about Tangiers. If you guys have questions about Tangiers, make sure you drop them in the chat and just do a little question mark in front of it so we know that you guys are asking a question. And we'll make sure to ask those questions as well and talk about them. But we have a lot of fun stuff planned. Like I said, we're going to be doing a game that we've done before in the past. We did this game with Jeremy where it was guess what's in that bowl, basically. So we're guessing what's the tobacco in the bowl, what the bowl is. We're also guessing what the pack is, and then we're also guessing who packed it. And the winner of that game is going to be forever known as the Nosferatu of hookah bowls. So it's a very prestigious title that you're going to want to be known. You're basically going to become a god of hookah at that point. So, hold that with your utmost respect possible. But yeah, Nosferatu of Nosferatu, isn't that the vampire? Is that?
I
Yeah, I
have
don't know what reference
idea
you're
what
making
you're
right now.
saying. I think it's a fugazi.
Yeah, it's a fugazi. Matt, most of the time I just sit here and listen to you fucking talk, bro.
I'm glad that you enjoy the podcast, like so many other
Yeah.
people do as well. That's good to
Yeah.
know. That's good. That's good to know. I'm glad you enjoy the thing that you do here. That's good. I like that.
No, I just sit here. You do the thing.
Um,
I'm a live watcher.
yeah. So, yeah. While we wait for Tony to get himself caught up, he's sweating at the moment, and he's coming back. It looks like. Are you alive and well, Tony? Are you good to do the show?
I'm good.
All right. So
It's
let's go.
down now.
Let's go ahead and get into this game a little bit.
Is this pack totally whack, or is this pack a matter of fact?
There you go. Is this pack a matter of fact, or is this pack totally whack? We have some really cool packs that were all submitted, by the way, by fans of the show. They submitted a picture for us to take a look at, and the way this is going to work is you have points that can be won in this, and the points that you can win is by guessing the brand of tobacco, the bowl that was used, the person that packed it, and the type of pack that they claim that this is. Now, I like this sort of game because it also kind of eliminates that idea that there's one name for every single pack. Like, everybody may pack the same and call it the same thing, but everybody's pack is a little bit different. So depending on who you think it might be, it may affect what you think this pack may be just a little bit. So I need to go ahead and move that around so that everybody can see this inside of our YouTube and everything. But here is the very first picture. And this is how it's going to work, is I'm going to first have you guess what you think the tobacco is. And then I'm going to give you multiple choice, obviously. Then we're going to go to the bowl. Then we're going to go into the actual type of pack. And then you're going to be able to guess who you think packed this bowl. If anybody has a full guess that they would like to do before the game actually starts, let me know. And we will also then try to give you the points early on. So taking a look at this beautiful picture that was shared with us by one of our wonderful listeners. We do have a question. Travis Green says, hey, Adrian, what are you drinking tonight?
Yeah, I just showed it. It's just a key lime LaCroix, and the can's green, so bonus points.
Oh, okay.
Travis Green.
There you go. All right, so now moving on to the game. We're going to go ahead and jumpstart this right now. So this is your 3, A, B, or C when it comes. Does anybody have a guess right off the bat? Anybody have a guess right off the bat that they'd like to try and hit right now? Anybody?
I can't think of the name, but I think I know what the tobacco and bowl is. But Tony raised his hand first. So.
He did, Tony.
Yeah.
What do you think it is?
I think it is Azure Dark in a stone bowl. I think that's Renaissance series. I'm not an expert. And it's packed by, I'm going to say Jeremy.
And what do you think the pack is?
Like compaction or?
Yeah, what kind of pack do you think it is? If you gave this a name, what would you name it?
Semi-dense.
So you got 3 out of 4 on this one. So I'm going to give it to you. The only one you did not get was the person that actually submitted the picture, and that was actually Wayne. So congratulations, Tony. You have scored the first point in today's episode. This was by Wayne. It is Azure. It is semi, and it is a stone bowl as well. So congratulations, you got the first point.
We
Captain
just
Whitbeard.
got done talking about using compaction, and now we're using semi-dense.
It's whatever.
But,
Hey, it's your bowl. It's your rules. This is whatever you
Yeah,
want.
man.
I knew that was
fucking up
Wayne's
the-
bowl.
You're screwing up the continuity.
So we get points for not guessing it all right, just so we know.
He
This
got,
is
he
just-
got, he got
Majority?
3 out of 4.
All right.
Do we call it semi-compaction now? Like, is that the way we're going? Because I know percentages.
You can do whatever you want. That's like if that's
Okay.
semi-dense, it'd be like 75% compaction. It's,
Your bowl, your rules. All right,
Yeah,
we're
you
going to
do
move
what you
on to the next one. This is the
Oh.
next one that has been submitted to us. Here you go. Take a good look at it.
I think I know what that bowl is.
If you can get 3
Yeah.
out of 4, then
Same.
I'll give you the points. Does anybody want to take a guess? Now, I will warn you, this is not a single brand of tobacco. Any guesses? No.
I think that's a Don Evil, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
Or a Turkish, I can't tell.
All right.
it's a
So
dog
here's
bowl
your-
for sure.
here's
Could be an
Yeah.
SP.
And Brandon Olawson.
Okay.
So say that again, Tony. Sorry, I didn't get it all.
Donut Pack, ST Bowl, Azure and Dark Side by Brandon.
That is not enough of the correct answer, so we're going to have to move on to the A, B, and C, and then we're going to do this round robin so I can get your answers, and then I will tell you who is correct. So your A on this is Dark Side and Tangiers fluff packed into a ST bowl. Then your B guess is Azure and Dark Side packed into a Dawn bowl. Your C guess is Tangiers Dark Side in an ST bowl.
Okay.
So which one, A, B, or C for you, Adrian?
I put in a C.
Okay. Bracken?
I thought it was a Don bowl, but looking at the coloration on the edges, it looks like discolored ST instead of actual black bowl.
But it could be the cattle skull Don Bowl.
That's white.
It could
But
be burnt.
It could be dirty.
Bracken, what do you got? A,
I have
B,
no idea. B.
B, okay. And then Paul, what about you? A, B, or C?
I was gonna go with B as well.
Okay. And then what about you, Tony? A, B, or C?
I'm going C.
C? All right. So the correct answer is C.
Oh, you motherfuckers.
Now we're going to take a guess as to who actually packed this bowl. Who do you think packed this bowl, Adrian? Do you have any guesses at all?
After he said Brandon, that looks a lot like Brandon's right countertop. So that's the only thing I can even think of.
Cam packed this bowl.
The correct answer as to who packed this bowl. Oh, wait, Tony, who's your guess?
I'm going Brandon.
It is Cameron that packed this bowl.
Yeah.
It is Cameron, but you did not guess the right answer, so nobody gets points on that one.
Dude, Cameron did a donut pack?
So
What is this?
Wait. If you guess the right letter but don't get the person, there's no points?
Well, you guys tied. You guys tied.
Matt, your game
Basically,
is flawed
Tony's
from
the only one that
get-go.
gets. Tony's the only
All
one that
right,
gets
so
the
basically, Matt just like tells us who wins.
Got it. Okay. I
Based
understand
on-
that one.
Matt,
Based on
if
Matt.
you look at the show notes, it's actually already scripted who's going to win.
Maybe.
Oh,
I don't know.
I see.
All right, so here's our next bowl of choice right now. Take a look at it. Take a good look at it right now. All right. So, anybody have a quick guess as to who, if they can get 3 out of 4? 3 out
Let me
of
hit
4.
this.
Alfaker double apple in a red clay Egyptian bowl
Oh,
packed by Hookah John.
That is incorrect.
Oh,
That
damn.
is
This
incorrect,
was-
sir.
Packed by Travis Green.
Okay.
That's a what else we need to know? The bowl.
The bowl.
That's one of the new Harmony bowls with the ginormous hole. I mean, not Harmony. Goodfellow bowl.
Goodfellow what?
What do you mean?
Fourth.
What? The new one.
You got to, well, I mean, there's lots of new
Version
stuff all
what?
the time.
The one you can
4.5.
buy right now.
Okay, 4.5.
4 or 5. Yeah,
Okay.
there you go.
Okay. He helped you out.
And then it looks like a donut pack because you
Okay.
can see the spire.
Okay.
And I don't know what compaction people use on a donut pack, but does the donut pack count as
That
the
counts.
compaction?
That counts. That counts.
And I'm gonna say that's Tangiers.
You were right on 3 out of 4. That is a donut pack. That is Travis Green's bowl, and that is a Goodfella 4.5.
So
You
3 out
recognize
of
the
4 is
countertop, huh?
good enough unless we go to letters.
Unless we go to
Why
letters.
don't they just name it the 5?
Because it was a 4.5. That's why.
It's no. The reason they don't name it the 5 is because they know they fucked the 4 up, and this is the original intended design for the 4.
This is what it
Oh.
should have been.
Oh,
This is what
okay.
it should have
So
been.
it's the 4
Yeah.
2.0.
Exactly, but
It's the 420 bowl.
This is
correct.
this is Tangiers and Azor, by the way. That's what he had packed. This was Tangiers.
it's so
So I have
hard.
a question.
Yeah.
And this game is very fun. What is a donut pack exactly? I think
It's
I
a
missed
toddy
something.
pack.
A donut pack is when you
HMD
pull
pack.
back the shisha from the outer wall and the inner wall.
Oh, to allow breathing room and to stop overheating. Yeah, okay, I get it.
It's so when you use a HMD and you pull the HMD off, then it comes out looking like a donut. That's the idea behind it. That's
Oh,
part
it's
of
just
the idea.
it's just shit from the bourgeoisie.
Yeah.
It's
the
the
food
bourgeoisie. Cut a donut in half and put it in your bowl.
There you go. All right.
We can start calling this the bagel bowl.
Moving on to
Bagels.
the
Bagel pack.
If you want to be real fancy, then
It's a bag. It's a bagel pack.
here's our next one right here. Does anybody want to take a shot at this one?
Okay, so it's hard to tell. I want to say that's a rook bowl. Could be a mini rook.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna say Tang because people keep just denting the shit out of tobacco apparently. And what else am I guessing? I got the bowl, the tobacco. I'm gonna say it's dense pack, maybe semi. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with semi. And I don't know. I'm gonna withhold from a name, and I hope I got the first 3 right because I got no clue.
You did
Let's
not
say-
get the 3 right. So you need to have a name if you want to get the point for this.
Oh, so I got 2 of them right.
You got 2 right.
Who the fuck owns one of these?
Ah,
I don't-
Everybody
Who,
fucking owns one of those.
David Harris.
That is incorrect. Anybody else want to take a shot? Get 3 of these? Yes, go ahead,
Tony,
Tony.
go for it.
I'm gonna say it's a Rook Bowl, and that is Trifecta Blonde. I'm gonna say Chris Delgadillo packed it. Yeah,
That is
and it's
that is not
saying
correct. That is not correct. You did not get any 3 of those correct. Anybody else want to take a shot? Are you ready?
You're 100% wrong.
100% wrong.
I'll
Okay.
try it. Why not? Why not?
Okay,
Why not?
okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with a alpaca rook.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say that is Othmani,
Mhm.
or is it Nirvana? No, I'm gonna say it's Othmani, and I'm gonna say Stefan.
That is incorrect as well. That is incorrect.
Son of a.
So
All right.
I think is there a chance that That could be one of the Fumari rooks. But now I'm just getting.
All right.
Fumari made a rook?
They have a special rook, yeah.
So yeah, they made by Pack. So here's your A, B, and C. Your guess A is going to be it is a donut pack semi in an oblique small oblique small is the name of the bowl, and then Tangiers, and I'll tell you the name that way we don't have to go to that by Jeremy Bird, or that's A. So A is a semi donut oblique small Tangiers Jeremy. That's A. Okay. B is a donut pack full density in a Fumari Rook Bowl with Nirvana packed by Stefan. And then your C is going to be a fluff pack Al-Fakir in a Egyptian bowl done by Adrian.
All
That
right,
one
first
seems
of all,
like the
why are you
answer.
making these too easy? Second of all, I just got to address Mr. Leader in the chat saying the spider's too small to be a rook. I got 5 rooks that are identical to each other in my kitchen right now that says that's not correct. Just so we're clear. I'm going B.
Okay. Bracken, what do you go with?
B.
Paul, what do you go with?
I'm going to B because I know Stefan packs like that.
And then Tony, what are you going with?
I'm going with B process because Adrian said his name and yeah.
Does anybody want to go with A just so somebody can be okay? Adrian will go.
I'll
with
go
A.
with A.
Okay, so
I can go with A.
Adrian said A first, and the correct answer is A. This is Jeremy Bird. He's the one
What?
who submitted this picture. Yes, this is a donut pack semi-dense Tangiers with an oblique small bowl. Jeremy is the one that gave this bowl to us. So I believe that is 1 point, Tony. 1 point, Bracken.
I am
one,
angry.
1 point.
Here's a PSA.
Yeah.
Don't, if you come across any old rook bowls, specifically the Fumari rook bowls, don't buy them because they're gigantic and those are the dimensions. So you're looking at like 50 grams of tobacco.
Huge. Those old Fumari rooks are humongous. So I believe that's 1 point for Adrian, 1 point for Bracken, and 1 point for Tony. I believe everybody is tied up except for Paul with 1 point at the moment.
Come on, Tita.
I'll check.
Okay, everybody, I'm bad at this game.
I'll check. Captain Wetbeard, do you have a count for who's in the lead? What the points are? Please let us know. Moving on to the next picture. Here you go. Take a good, strong look at this picture.
I'll take a guess.
Okay, go ahead.
This was packed by James Henley. It's Dark Side. It's a donut pack. Looks to be a Dawn Bowl. We're going to go with the Dawn Classic. And what else am I missing?
Tobacco.
Dark Side.
So you said it was James,
Mm-hmm.
and you said that it was a Dawn Bowl,
Mm-hmm.
and you said it was Dark Side,
Mm-hmm.
and then what kind of pack is it?
It's donut pack, man.
Donut pack. He didn't use donut pack. Can you give me a different packing idea?
He put a semi-dense in there.
It is not semi-dense. You only got 2 out of the possible 4. What is up, Tony? What is your guess?
No, you already guessed.
Dawn Classic, Stephen
yeah.
Ordway, Dark Side, and I'm going to say Fluff.
That is enough to get the points. Congratulations. It was actually packed by our friend David. It is a fluff pack. It's an underpack, but I won't fault you on that. It is a Dawn Bowl, and it is Dark Side. Tony, you're now leading the way with 2 points. Congratulations. Let's move on to our next bowl picture. Here you go. Anybody want to take a guess on this one?
Hey,
Yeah, go ahead,
Hey.
Paul. Go ahead, Paul.
Derek
I'm
Moses.
sure I had my hand up first.
Oak Bowl.
Oak Bowl, okay. Good job. You got 1 so far.
I said Derek Moses.
This one's too easy.
You got 2.
Okay. What was the other things I have to
You
target?
need- you-
What kind of tobacco?
Either tobacco or the pack.
It's gonna be Fluffy. Zomo.
You got all 4 right. Congratulations. You got all 4 of
Oh,
those
damn it.
correct.
This one was too easy, man. The pack bag gave it away.
Yeah,
Shut
that
up.
was
That
I
was
was gonna
his
guess the
choice.
same exact shit.
That was his choice on that. I can't. I told him to give me a picture, and that's the one that he gave me. So now we're at 2 points for Tony, 1 point for Paul, 1 point for Bracken, and 1 point for Adrian.
This
Congratulations.
game's fucked.
Moving
I do
on.
have to say that is a beautiful pack mat available at packmats.com.
That was the very
Packmats.com.
first colored pack mat that you did, correct, Bracken?
And it was the hardest one we've ever done because we had never done one before.
Oh, really? Interesting.
I can tell you that dude on there was not the first dude that we put on there.
Interesting. All right.
There was a couple of Slendermans in the graveyard after that one because she kept messing it up. But we got it right. That's all that matters.
All right. So now we're moving on to the next one. This one's going to be much tougher because there's 4 different tobaccos inside of this. There are 4
Is it
different.
the final boss?
It's
the final boss?
I concede. How's that?
Who's it? Oh man,
What
come
if
on.
I just say it was
Predator Bowl.
What if I just said it was
Yeah.
tobacco?
It's a predator for sure.
It's a Predator Bowl with tobacco in it.
Okay.
Semi-dense, I don't know. Packed by Santa Claus.
Oh, but there
Sadly,
could be
you only
there
got
could
one
be
of those
heaven
right.
leaf in there. You
There's
never know.
4 tobaccos in there.
There's
4
4
different
tobaccos.
kinds.
Yeah, if somebody can give me 3 of the tobaccos that's inside this bowl, I'll give you the win.
So you're saying tobacco, so that means it's not heaven leaf, right?
It is not heavenly. I'll tell you that.
Because that's
No.
a dirty curve.
I'm gonna try the tobaccos.
Okay, let's hear this.
I'm gonna say there is Azor, Tangiers, Dark Side, and Nakla.
That is incorrect.
Son of a.
Tony, what do you got?
I'm gonna say Azur, Tangiers, Alpha Comma, and Nirvana.
That is incorrect as well. Bracken, do you have a guess on what 4 tobaccos are in there?
Yeah, so Eternal Smoke is in there.
Okay.
Azure Dark. Tangiers. And Othmani.
That is incorrect. I'm sorry.
Man.
All of you guys have not done very well on guessing these tobaccos. I'm just going to let you know.
Matt,
don't fault
I'm going
you.
to let you know that if someone else designed this game, you'd have no points right
I don't
now.
fault you. I don't fault you're more. Please design a game. I would love for somebody else to design a game. I would love it.
Y'all
game is
watching
hard.
the podcast where I fucking quit live due to rage.
This is the final. This is the final boss where you're waiting for the update because
No,
it's
this
unbeatable.
is clearly just all
I
Alpha
bet you
Hawker.
there's trifecta in
It
there.
is not Alfakir in here at all.
There could be trifecta in there.
All right, so we're just gonna do the tobacco on this because you guys already know what the bowl is. Obviously, it is a normal pack, is what he says it is, which I don't see why that's not right. I think that's a very good.
But
name for this.
but if you said it was a semi-dense, everyone in this whole room would be like, okay, yeah, I could believe that.
Agreed. That's why.
Tell me I'm
these
wrong.
things don't matter. I agree, 100%. I agree, 100%. All right,
It's all
so
a big Fugazi.
here we go.
Adrian.
Here we go. Here's your 4.
Fucking Fugazi.
Here's your 8.
Fugazi.
Here's your
It's
8.
Fugazi. Come on.
This is a very loose game, as you guys can obviously tell. This is so here's your 3 choices for the 4 types of tobacco that are inside this bowl. Your first one, which is A, is WTO, Element, Duff, and Dark Side. Your next one is Tangiers, Dark Side, Azor, Trifecta, and your C is WTO, Starry, Dark Side, and Duff.
Okay.
I'm gonna go A because if it's A, then Travis probably packed it, and that actually makes canonical sense. So
Okay.
I'm gonna go with A.
All right, Bracken, what about you?
I'm gonna go with B.
Okay, Bracken
Because-
goes with B.
It could be that B is the first letter of my name.
Oh, there you go. Okay. That makes
A is the
total
first
sense.
letter of my name.
Paul, are you gonna go C?
I'm gonna go with C, and I'm gonna say Travis did it if those are the categories that we're hitting.
Okay. And then what about you, Senor Tony?
I'm gonna go with A because A is the first letter of my real name, and Travis definitely packed that bowl.
This is
Shut up,
absolutely
Antonio.
A, and this was absolutely packed by Travis. That is so
Yeah.
true.
What? I was the originator. Give me 5 points.
Give you 1 point. And yes, this was packed by Travis. WTO, Element, Duff Tobacco, and Dark Side Tobacco inside that OG Predator Bowl
Fucking
in a
Travis.
normal
I
pack.
got to smoke some Duff this weekend. It was quite pleasant.
I tried some in Vegas. I tried just a little bit in Vegas. It was pretty good.
Go find Travis and ask to smoke the Circle Back to Corn mix. It's probably the best thing I'll
Travis,
ever
you
smoke.
penis.
It's pretty good, actually. It's very good. Okay, so this is the final
Tricked
one.
me.
This is the final one. Here you go. Take a good long look at this bowl, this beautiful bowl.
Is that a stone? What the fuck is that?
That
That's
is a
definitely
stone.
a stone.
It's so low res, it could just be some anything, but it looks like a stone because it looks like Brandon's handiwork.
Yeah, look at the rook. That's a stone.
Yeah. No, I can see the rooks between the rooks. So,
All right, I got some guesses.
I do too, but you go first,
Okay.
I guess.
Okay, I'm gonna go Army Stone Bowl.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go Dijon. I'm gonna go Alfaker, and Azure Blonde.
Okay.
The mix, and it's fluffy.
There was only 2 right answers in that. There was only 2 right answers.
Okay, so this looks like it's probably the Stone Army. The only reason that it's taken me a second is I don't understand how people get so much buildup on the rim and the spire. Mine's still fucking pristine, and I use it daily. Just get some steel wool, kids. Stone Army, I don't know. That red shit could be, it's probably not Alfaker. It looks not janky enough. Could be Sir Bentley.
Not janky enough.
Is this 3 tobaccos or 2?
There's 2 tobaccos in this.
2 tobaccos? Man, I don't smoke any red tobacco except for Alfaker Double Apple. I'm just gonna say Alfaker, and that tobacco's not cut well.
That's
At
not
all.
Yeah,
a
the
brand.
cut's throwing me off.
That's not
That's
a
not a
Azure?
brand.
That's not a brand name, actually.
Azure?
That's not cut well is not an acceptable answer for the brand.
Azure.
Okay, and then what kind of pack is it?
Fucking you tell me, Matthew. Normal.
Any idea who might have packed this bull, Adrian?
It's a Stone Army. I should know. I'm one of the 25 people who owns one. Who else owns a Stone Army? I'm gonna say Jeremy, just because I'm pretty sure he still has his.
Okay. Anybody else want to take a guess? Because that was wrong. There was very little about that answer that was correct, just so you guys are aware.
So it's definitely a Stone Bowl. It's definitely. I think you were right on when you said Sir Bentley.
No, it's not red enough.
Is it though? Because
I can't comment.
I'm going to say Sir Bentley just because everybody else guessed Alfaker.
Okay.
And there's a second brand in there, and
Alpha Comma.
now let's do Trifecta.
Their cut's way better than that, bro. It's so fun.
Yeah, it's too quick.
Could be old Trifecta.
That is wrong. Just so you,
Well,
that
I don't
is-
care. This is hard. This is hard.
Man,
That is wrong. What about
Yeah,
you?
no,
Tony?
Wetbeard's right. I don't think I've seen Jeremy clean bowls. I'm sorry, Jeremy, that I even put your name on this. I don't think you'd let a bowl get.
You're
like
gonna
this.
love who packed this bowl, Adrian. You're gonna love it.
Is it someone who I'm gonna fucking be like, yeah, of course they don't wash their bowls.
I think you might.
Okay, good.
Tony, do you have a guess on this?
They took all my ideas.
I'll give you a hint. I just realized something because someone in the chat said it. Alfaker's new craft line.
That
Yeah, but
if
it's
I
still
say
Alfaker.
it covers Alfaker.
yeah,
All right.
Alfaker covers Alfaker.
It would. If that was
Do
correct,
you think
that
they
would.
shit? No, they cut it like shit every time.
I'm gonna say Sir Bentley and Azure Dark.
Who do you think packed it?
Pardon?
Who do you think packed it?
Dude. I don't know.
Come on, man. Chop
I'm
chop.
gonna say Delgadillo, man. We keep saying your name.
that is incorrect. Those were all wrong answers. Thank you guys for giving the wrong answers. Appreciate that. This is your A, B, and C to try and guess it to be right. We are not going to worry about the bowl because it is.
I got a new fucking game, Matt. This is my bowl from earlier. What I packed, bud. What is this?
I'm confused. I don't.
Yeah.
Adrian
fuck
is
you.
upset.
He
That is
is.
okay.
Adrian, that is a purple predator.
No, it's not.
It's a Surrey.
Surrey.
It's a Surrey.
Surrey.
He got
Tangiers
you.
Bowl.
He got
Alpaca.
you. All right. So
Tangiers.
Paul,
Packed
here's
by
a
Adrian
hint.
Hunter.
Here's a hint, Paul.
It's
You
packed
are
by
one of the-
Badia.
No, Paul, you're one of the only people who knows what this tobacco is.
Oh, I know what it is.
Yeah, there you go. You win.
great.
Who
Wonderful.
packed?
You
Who?
guys did
Give
great.
us the multiple choices.
All right, so your multiple choice. This is only going to be tobacco and who packed it, just because.
Okay. All right.
You guys obviously know what the bowl is. It is a Stone Army bowl, just so you guys are aware. Okay, so the people that possibly packed this are either going to be David, Harris, Stefan, or Moyes, and the types of tobacco that are going to be inside of this is possibly going to be Sherbetli and Azor, Adalea and Azor.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Or
Adalia.
or Adalia and Trifecta.
Adalia, B.
Oh, no,
wait, B. Fuck it, B.
It's Aldalia.
Uh-huh.
What was the other blonde options?
Azor.
It's Adalia and Azor, and it's
Adalia and
packed by
Azor.
Moise.
And it's packed by Moise. That is
If
correct.
that's trifecta, fuck
That is
that.
that is 100% correct. Congratulations, Paul. You are correct, and you tied the game up with everybody. But it's okay because in this game, everybody is the winner because the points don't matter. That's right. The points are kind of like a Facebook group. They don't really
They're
matter,
just a
but we all
placeholder. They're just a
like them
They're like a
anyways.
Facebook group. They don't matter. That's only partially true.
That was a
Check
nice
it out.
tribute. That was a nice tribute to Whose Line Is It Anyway?
I'm
Great
glad
show.
you like that. I'm glad
So-
you like that.
So you were right. I 100% expect Moise to pack a fucking bowl that looks like that. And I 100% expect Moise to let his bowl get to that condition, especially an expensive ass bowl, a rare bowl. Of course, Moise let it build up a char line that you could probably eat and gain nourishment from.
Eat and gain
Bought him that bowl.
nourishment from. I
That was
like
my birthday present for Moise.
So that was
Good job, Moise.
That was the game. That was just for fun. There wasn't anything too heavy or major.
Oh, I want
about
one
it.
more.
That was it.
Tiebreakers.
That's all we got. Sorry.
Oh,
The points don't matter. You are all winners in my book. Congratulations. Except for Adrian. He was really angry, so he does not get to be the winner in this game at all. And,
Is that so?
It's all right.
all right, guys. We're going to continue the rest of the episode with the four-man crew. Thank you all for coming. I hope you're all having a wonderful time. Thank you guys for being here. If Adrian at any time would like to talk about Tangiers, you're more than welcome to join us again. Oh, there
Yeah,
you are.
I'll
No,
join
no,
for
no.
that part of the conversation.
All right, guys. So thank you for humoring that little time of the podcast. It was just a fun. We usually do some games on the channel every once in a while that are a little bit more, thought out and a little bit more intense. But because we have so many people on the episode and because we're just kind of cutting it from the cuff at the moment, this is all just for fun, and we're just here to have a good time, obviously. So thank you for humoring me, because that was just for me. All that was just for me. Literally, Adrian's looking like this whole fucking thing is just for you. That's all this is.
Man, those are hard. Those are real hard.
We'll do a game like that again in the future where it's a lot
was
more
actually
constructed.
Oh, we will do a game like that again, and I'm gonna host it.
Please.
oh, God.
Do it.
I would love that so
Too
much.
hard. We think we know what we're packing until like it's in front of us and it's like I don't know.
All right, so let's go ahead and dive into some talk about Tangiers and tobaccos and stuff like that. And let's go ahead and jump into the very first thing that I think this game has kind of showed us. And it comes from the idea of what is packing a bowl. Now, I'm going to just go ahead and say this out loud. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that everybody packs Tangiers like full dents. Does anybody not do that in this room? Anybody not pack Tangiers full dents? All right,
Me.
perfect.
All
Okay.
right, yeah, me. I don't.
Oh, well, let's go ahead and talk about this a little bit. So the way that, and I talked to Tony about this just a little before the show started. Does anybody besides Tony, because I already told you, know why the idea behind packing Tangiers came from fully densing it down? Does anybody know the reason why that
Because
became
that's
a
the way
thing?
they said to pack it.
But why did they say to pack it that way? Do you know why?
They said to.
Okay, so the reason
Yeah,
why...
I'm sure there's a reason behind it, but
Yeah.
like my education came from the Hookah John video that he did with Eric.
Yes.
That's kind of
Yeah.
where I saw my first Tangiers pack.
So the reason why the idea was to pack it as densely as possible was because you were trying to get the same, I say density, even though we all agree that's not the best word, compaction. The reason why we all decided to pack it to full compaction was because that's how it arrived to you inside of the package that it was in. You were trying to mirror the same amount of compaction inside the bag that it was delivered to you in your bowl. That was the reasoning
Okay.
behind it.
So why though?
That was just the reasoning that they came up with. They wanted you to. That's the way that it was like.
Because
a
he said
natural,
so.
No, that's,
Right. But the thing is like, what other tobacco do you do that with? I bet you can't name one.
Not before Tangiers ever became a thing. No, I absolutely can't.
I still can't name one. I can't think of any tobacco
I
where
think
I.
Jeremy-
the old
Well,
the
Zagul.
black leaf
Yeah,
that
Zagul
you
a
would
little
just
bit.
put in the bowl.
I
What was
think
it called?
Zagul.
Zag?
A ghoul.
That was just kind of like so sticky, you just kind of
You
clumped it
couldn't
in there.
fluff it. Yeah, the stuff it has its own gravity.
The only other brand of tobacco that I think when people talk about doing like full compaction is Jeremy Bird, friend of the show. He actually likes to do full compaction when it comes to Azor. If you ever
I
watch,
saw that in Vegas when I
Yes.
saw him packing a bowl of Azure. I was like, Jeremy, holy shit.
Yep.
But the bowl is good.
it's amazing.
So,
I don't know how he does
yeah.
it because I've tried to do it his same way and I can't do it the same way that he does it. But Adrian, you said you don't do it full compaction for Tangiers. What do you like to do when you pack Tangiers?
All right, so full disclaimer, I started doing it full compaction. Basically just when I say full compaction, you can go more compact, but at a certain point, you're going to start to squeeze the juices out of the tobacco. And at that point, you're not doing it correctly. You're going to start to get this burnt layer, and it's going to be nasty, and your base water is going to turn black. But yeah, you take it down to, before the juices start coming out, and that's what like the standard is. And I started to get to the point where the buzz wasn't getting me where I wanted to be, and I didn't get that. I kind of crave a little bit of a throat hit, a sensation.
Okay.
So I gradually started to loosen the pack up to where now I guess the best, if you had a term you could connect it to what everyone else uses or has been using, like semi-dense,
Okay.
Like somewhere near the 60 to 75% compaction. There's some breathing room. It doesn't look like the Tangiers has been thumbed down in my bowls.
Interesting. I'd love to see some pictures of your bowls, just because I'm so used to packing it the way that I do it, which is 100% compaction. That's definitely how I still do it. So I want to try doing some different things with my packing, especially. Bracken, you said you also don't do it full compaction. How do you like to do it? You're muted at the moment.
No, I'm not.
Kidding.
No.
All right.
I pack it in there.
You do?
Yeah, Paul said he doesn't do it full compaction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Paul.
I jam it in there.
Apologies. Paul, how do you like to pack Tangiers then?
I just kind of throw it in a bowl, go around. So Tangiers specifically, I'll use an oyster fork instead of chopsticks, right? Because like it's clumpy, it's sticky, and then so once it's a little bit over the bowl, I'll just take my thumb and kind of just tap it in. So it doesn't. Yeah, to me, I guess it depends on the person's definition of what full compaction is.
Okay.
Right? Because full compaction to me is like when you press down hard enough on the tobacco that it starts to separate underneath whatever you're trying to compress it to, or to the level, right? So it's like if you had a bowl that was like this level or whatever, and you start pushing it down up to, I'd say like the spire height, and it starts moving away from that. That's already full compaction. So I do it just enough to where it's it doesn't start separating.
Okay.
Away from that. So I would say mine is semi or 75%, 60, 75%, maybe sometimes even 80, depending on how strong I want the nicotine content to be.
So
now
we came
I've also
to kind of the same conclusion.
Yeah, so like it depends, because you can manipulate Tangiers in any tobacco that you want, based on how you want to smoke for that certain moment. Like sometimes I don't want the buzz, but I want the flavor of Tangiers, so I'll compact it all the way through. Especially with like cashmere, if it's a really strong flavor, I'll squish the crap out of that because I don't want it to like overpower a lot of things. And for me, like if I'm mixing Tangiers, I normally do a layer pack, and layer packs work better when it's not super squished down because it allows the flavors to seep out as the bowl heats up.
Interesting. All right. So, and anybody in the chat, if you guys pack your Tangiers anything differently as well, please let us know. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about that as well. Tony, what about you? Do you pack? I know you're not the biggest Tangiers fan. You're not somebody who's a diehard Tangiers head like the majority of us are in this room. How do you like to pack your Tangiers when you do pack it?
I do full compaction. That's the way I was shown from everyone. That's when Frank Simmons was up here, the OG showed me how he does it, and he thumbs it, and it turns out great. I will have to try it maybe when I crack open my Tangiers the way you guys do it, and I'm sure it'd be great.
Be something different to try for sure.
Tony, are you a fan of buzzing when you smoke?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm surprised you're just not like gung ho on Tang, because like Paul said, one of the coolest things about the brand is you can. When you buy Tangiers, it's not like buying Alfaker. Alfaker's going to smoke like Alfaker for the most part. Tang, you can fuck with it, and it'll fuck back at you.
The only other way I've Tang is I fluffed it in a Don Evil or a Turkish with a HMD. That works well if you like to buzz. The session length is obviously not as long, but it works well. I can see why the Russian market does that. It you get a good buzz, the flavor's there, and then it's done. It doesn't drag on. So yeah.
Okay, interesting. There's somebody that's asking. It looks like heat control is what they're saying inside of the chat. So I'm assuming they're just they're asking the question: how do we like to do our heat when it comes to Tangiers? Which I don't know if everybody does it the same or not. I'm going to go ahead and mention how I do my heat on Tangiers, and then I'll kind of do another round robin of how everyone else likes to do it as well.
Sure.
The way that I do Tangiers with heat is I do 3 flats, the jumbo flats, and I just stick it right inside of my Provost. On top of and then I always pack my my tobacco just right up to the rim because I know I'm going to be using the Provost and stuff. So I like to use a pretty good amount of heat, and then the majority of the bowl I don't really mess with the coals at all. What I'll do towards like the middle of the session is I'll put the lid back on top of the Provost. That way I can add just a little bit more heat as I'm going through the session. But for the most part, I like to keep my heat hot and then keep it hot the entire time of the session as well. That's just how I like to do it. I'd like to hear if there's anybody that does it differently. Adrian, do you do it anything differently than that?
Well, I believe if you're talking about the physics geek comment on heat control, I don't know that he's asking how we do our heat, although I think that's a good topic to cover, definitely.
Mhm.
I think he's referring to packing Tangiers dense in order to manipulate how the bowl, the heat gradient moves down through the bowl that way.
Oh, just using that as a way to control the
Do
heat?
that.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I think when you dense, I mean, I'm sure we've all found out that the denser you pack Tangiers, the less buzzy it tends to be. And for me, the less throat hitty it tends to be. And yeah, that could definitely just be something to do with how it takes heat when it's packed that densely. I don't want to delve too deep into bro science. I did not go to school for that. But I buy into that. That said, heat, I used to be a flats guy, but if I'm using a Provost, 2 cubes, whatever cube you're going to use. Like right now I'm using the Prestige cubes with the Provost lid on, crooked, kind of hanging off one of the sides of the coal instead of being fully down. And then if I'm going to go with no foil, just 3 flats directly on the foil.
Okay.
Easy.
Do you maintain that same amount of heat the entire session through, or do you like to kind of change it up, like either mess with your lid a little bit more, or do you take one of the cubes off or anything, or do you try to keep that as consistent as possible?
It depends. I like to get my bowl. I give it about 5 minutes to get to like full heat, and then I don't want it to die off at all. So at about the 45-minute to an hour mark, I'll light up a second round of coals, and I'll just start to introduce new coals slowly. There's like a 15-minute coal switching period. I don't necessarily take the 2 small ones out and add the 2 big ones. I'll like take one of the small ones out, switch it for a big one, and then wait 5 minutes, do it again to kind of stop the tobacco from shocking.
Okay.
You don't necessarily need to do that. It's a process. I think we all have processes that we go through when we smoke hookah.
Okay.
And yeah, I just like to be consistent. I find that especially with Tangiers, you need a little bit more heat at the end of the session than you did at the beginning. Top layer's cooked. It's harder to cook the stuff underneath, so I add a little bit more heat towards the end. Usually I'll use one of those half burnt down coals in conjunction with the 2 full coals that were just lit.
Okay. Very nice. What about you, Bracken? How you've been smoking Tangiers for a long time. You've been a big Tangiers fan for a long time. So I feel like you have your method down for Tangiers, not just the packing and all that stuff, but also the heat, which is very important, obviously. So what is it that you like to do when it comes to heat for your Tangiers?
Yeah, so that's correct. I smoked a lot of Tangiers like for 3 years. It was the only brand, and I kind of really just got good at the heat management. But for like a general statement, rule of thumb, if I'm packing it in I've been using the Provost a ton. I love using it. I think before the Provost, I was using the Flavor Saver from Hookah John. The indirect, like just kind of like slightly bringing the heat off the tobacco, I think allows the bowl to heat up really nicely. And I will light up cubettes. Cubettes are my charcoal of choice only for Tangiers.
Oh.
I love using them for Tangiers. I've tried using Superiors. I've tried using all the other brands. I don't want to name anybody else. And for me, Tangiers and cubettes work. I light 4 cubettes at the beginning of my session, and I will kind of just put them in a square in the Provost, and I don't put a lid on it. I don't smoke it for maybe 5-10 minutes. I let it heat up, and then I'll start start toking on it to get the airflow across. And the reason I do 4 is it allows me to kind of slowly bring the heat up, but it's a little bit faster than slow. And as the coals die down, maybe 5-10 minutes ago, I took the Provost, I dumped it out in my coal carrier, put it back on my bowl, put the coals back on, and I'll tilt the lid a little bit. So it allows me to smoke for 2 hours roughly, and I don't have to get up and relight charcoal. It gets the heat that I want. I've noticed there are some Tangiers flavors, specifically the cherry limeade and the chocolate iced cream. Those are the two that I've noticed so far to the new line. I only need 3 cubettes in the beginning to start. So, I put the 4 on and I started smoking. It's like, hello, that's a little hot. Woo, turn that down a little bit. So, rule of thumb is 4. But now I'll just have to start paying closer attention to it, just because some of those flavors seem to not need as much heat to get pumping.
Okay, interesting. Do you think heat is a very important part of smoking Tangiers? How would you rate that on the importance of smoking Tangiers for you?
So for me, smoking Tangiers has 4, and I just guessed 4 off the bat. It has 4 critical components: the bowl, the pack, the charcoal, and the acclimation.
Okay.
So for me, I will pre-acclimate in the bag, squish it, open it, let it breathe. The bowl, I try to use bowls that, if you have a Provost at home, then you can look at it. You can see the size. If you don't, maybe you have an 80-foot or a Surrey or a Predator. They're not like the ginormous bowls. They're more like the medium, small range bowls. Those, in my opinion, are the best. For pack, I think I always dense it. And then for heat, for me, it's when to put the heat on. If you raise the temperature up too quick in the beginning, you'll flash the bowl.
Okay.
And so anytime I'm adding charcoal or starting the bowl, I try and ease it into that heat management, that heat aspect. And for me, learning to smoke Tangiers, the hardest part for me was learning the heat. Because in the beginning, if you smoke it the same way you smoke Nakhla or AF back in the day, those are very heat resilient brands. You can kind of just throw the coals on there and smoke. For Tangiers, I kind of had to learn not many people do it. I've still seen around the Stonehenge method, where you put the coals on their side.
It's been a long time since I've done that.
Yeah, I started I started Stonehenging because of Tangiers. I started. Yeah, what's up?
I was just going to ask the question. It's more of I guess it is partially a question. Have you noticed? Was there a learning curve to the second round of coals for you? Because it actually took me a little while before I could start introducing the second round of coals without shocking the shit out of my tobacco. Because I used to introduce the second round, and then it would smoke really good for about a minute, and then it would become shocked. And then no matter what I did, it took me a long time to figure out how to make that transition without burning the bowl and killing the second half of the session.
So with the introduction of the Provost to the market, I think a lot of people are going to there are going to be fewer and fewer stories of people learning how to reintroduce heat to the bowl for a second round. And a lot of people even today, they'll smoke just one round because, for Tangiers, it lasts a long time. So it'll last the entire length of your coals. So if you're using cubes or you're using a coal that lasts a little bit longer, you're really going to be able to sit there and smoke until those coals are done. Yes, to answer your question, I really did have to learn how to reintroduce heat when I was using just foil and coal. I had to learn that for me, I needed to put the charcoal in the exact same spot. It needed to be Stonehenged, and then I could slowly start moving the charcoal around. Because like you said, I would put it if you have 3, right? I would put them in the opposite 3 holes. It would smoke pretty good for a minute, 5 minutes, and all of a sudden, that tastes awful. What have I done?
Yeah, it's that burnt taste that won't seem to go away once it starts.
Yeah, I think Tangiers though is a little bit forgiving. It's not quite as forgiving on the second round. And if you can catch it quick enough, you can reverse the effects of heat shocking your bowl. But I really haven't had that much trouble with the Provost because it just kind of already.
It's the ultimate hookah hack.
It really is.
It makes it so easy.
It wasn't made for the use that 90% of the people use it, right? The apple on top Provost was made for the apple on top bowl. And then some dude just put it on top of his foil and it just worked. And now everybody does it. And it's the same. It's like a advanced principle of the flavor saver, keeps the heat off the bowl just enough so that it's not hard, but it still makes the bowl warm so it smokes.
Yeah, I definitely think that the Provost is a hookah tool that everybody needs in their arsenal. It's just too good to not have, in my honest opinion. What about you?
Works.
What about you, Paul? Do you do anything differently when it comes to heating your Tangiers tobacco? Is there, out of everything that we've already discussed and talked about, is there anything different that you add to that or maybe don't do that we all do?
I think I do pretty much the same method as Bracken does. My cubes, I use cubettes too when I do Tangiers. But I experiment with a lot of different charcoals and stuff too, and I have found that every charcoal kind of has its little place when smoking certain kinds of tobacco and all these other stuff, and you just kind of have to learn by trial and error, right? So if I'm using cubettes, I'll do it three. I'll do 3 cubettes to get it started with the lid of the Probos half tilted. And I think also the thing that matters when you're smoking Tangiers in particular is the height. If you're whether you're underpacking or you're packing directly like level with the foil and all this other stuff. But for me personally, I heat Tangiers gradually, like everybody else does here. I like to introduce the heat slowly and then bring it up to temperature. Because again, I don't like shocking the bowl of Tangiers because once you do hit that burn point of Tangiers, and just one portion of the bowl is burnt, you're gonna get that burnt taste all the way through your session, and it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's kind of good though.
Yeah, it depends on what you're trying to get. Yeah, so like sometimes the little burnt, crispy notes of cashmere peach is good, right? But sometimes I just want more floral or more of that peach flavor to come out. So it just kind of like you just kind of have to play with it, and it's one of those things that I think makes Tangiers fairly unique in its own self. Not only the fact that it inspired this whole generation of funnables, like that funnables didn't exist at all before Tangiers.
Nope. Tangiers was
Right.
the very first funnel. It was.
We should have rebranded the whole episode and just like charge $10 a head and called it a Tangiers Masterclass.
Oh God.
Think about doing that in the future. Our first Patreon will be the Masterclass series, and you pay us, and we'll teach you how to.
Don't ever pay us for anything.
All right, so well, unless you're buying socks like Bracken Cox. What about you, Tony? Going at it from a little bit of a different approach, heading over to you now. What are your advice to people that are maybe looking to get into Tangiers tobacco? Maybe if it's because you're not, like I said, you're not the biggest fan of it. You enjoy it. You understand why people like it and stuff like that. But what do you think is advice to maybe people that's thinking about getting into Tangiers and they're not sure if that brand of tobacco is for them? Maybe.
I would say, first of all, if you're not used to smoking a heavier tobacco, don't even reach for it. If you're used to smoking, I went from smoking, Alfakar for years, and then I got some stuff, and then I tried Tangiers. It was like night and day. It was like, whoa, what is this? But my main advice would be is dial back the heat, as has been explained, is you can't just blast it. At least I can't. I'm not at that stage. I can't for cold gang that stuff. But another thing is that we haven't really talked about is the different lines and how they behave.
100%. That's something we need to talk about.
The Burley, I haven't smoked F line, so I can't speak on it. But Burkook is a lot more forgiving than Noir is.
Yes.
So
now Burkook. So back in the day, there used to be 3 lines of tobacco from Tangiers. There was Nor line, which everyone is still used to today. There's F line, which is the same thing that Nor line is, only it's also injected with caffeine, and it's a very crazy buzz. I've only tried one flavor from F line before, and it was not for me. The taste of it and everything else just was not my personal cup of tea. And then there used to be Lucid, and Lucid was the washed variation of Tangiers, so it was a lot easier to smoke. It was way less buzzy and stuff like that. Nowadays, we have Norline, we have Burkook, we have Burley, and then we still have F-Line that just kind of floats around there. Does anybody have a preferred brand of it within it that is not Nor? My preferred is definitely Nor, for me personally. What about you, Adrian?
Yeah. So the easy thing to say is Nor. It's kind of the it's like Tangiers hallmark line. It's like it's what they push. I think that's probably the best one for most users. But if I had to go out and say, okay, not Nor, what's your favorite one? By a long shot, it's Burley. One of the flavors I think that is exclusive to their Burley line is their Prince of Grey, which is an Earl Grey flavor that I did a review on a while back, actually. That was an impressive flavor, and the buzz was it reminded me of the first time I got buzzed by Tangiers. I was super giddy. I was like a little high school kid. Very excited. So Burley.
The Burley is 100% will buzz you.
Yeah, that's why I don't go to it. I can't handle that buzz for me.
I didn't believe in Burley, and the first time I ever got it, someone talked me into fluffing it in a Dawn Evil.
Fucked up.
I think was it you, Paul?
What?
That convinced me to fluff Burley?
No, it might have been Eddie.
Somebody talked me into it. I put it in a Dawn Evil. I put a Lotus on top and put 3 cubes on that thing. And
No,
like,
it might have been a combo of me and Eddie. Yeah.
like, you know, when you're sweating and like, you know, when you're smoking and like it's really strong nicotine, like your upper lip is the only thing sweating.
Oh my
I
God.
had one of those. I was like, oh my gosh, like, oh, I think maybe I got like 25 minutes out of the bowl, and then I
So-
was like, I'm going to sleep. Good night. Goodbye. I hate my
As
life.
we talked about last episode, the what we call dark leaf is kind of it's a bit of a fugazi when we use the word dark leaf. Burley, that's a true dark leaf, correct?
Burley is
No.
the only one that is 100% true burley from my understanding, or
Yeah,
dark leaf,
it's-
because so once again, dark leaf does
The
not.
curing process.
Yes, it's referring to the actual curing process, not the actual leaf. All tobacco is blonde leaf tobacco. The only thing that changes it to a dark leaf tobacco is when it is cured in different ways. There's fire curing, and then there's dark aged curing as well, and then there's a third one, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. Paul, do you remember if there's a third curing type that makes it dark leaf?
I don't remember.
Okay,
Off the top of my head.
So yeah, but normally when we talk about dark leaf tobacco, we're talking about the curing of it. And honestly, the way that we use the term dark leaf tobacco today is just in reference to the actual look of the leaf itself. The fact that they use blackstrap molasses and it looks like dark leaf. It's not in reference to the actual tobacco leaf itself being a dark leaf tobacco. Now there is a question in here, and I'm not going to tackle it because I don't know enough between these two about Berkuk and Nor. Like I said, back in the day, the Lucid line was the washed line of tobacco.
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
think that's what Berkuk is, but I'm not
Berkuk
100% sure.
replaced Lucid.
Yeah.
Is
so
it
they
washed
introduced
though?
Berkuk and slowly phased out Lucid, and all of the flavors that used to be Lucid are now Berkuk. So they're
Yeah.
one and the same with a different name.
If you can't
Essentially
smoke
rebranded.
if you can't smoke the Noir line because of the nicotine buzz, the recommended switch is not switching brands. Oh no, keep the customer in the wheelhouse. Go to Berkuk. It's going to have a little bit less of that throat hit. And also what they're able to do is they're able to play around with flavors a little bit more. So like you're able to get like a lot stronger flavors in some of the sweeter lines in the Berkuk line.
Yeah, like foreplay. Foreplay is amazing. in
Foreplay on the
Berkuk.
peach, orange soda, little purple candy, green apple candy, flavors like that. Berkuk, in my opinion, and this is just me, but Berkuk does a better job of kind of like bringing across those kind of
100%,
brighter, sweeter flavors, and it doesn't really have that. It still has a level of Tangiers nicotine buzz to it, but it's not nearly as strong.
It also doesn't have the same strength to that like black strap molasses flavor. In my opinion,
Yeah,
too.
it's not as a heavy. Like
It
the
feels
smoke is
different,
still
too.
heavy, but you just don't get that. Like there's like a tingling feeling with Noir that you get in the back of your throat, right? Like,
So
it doesn't
good.
happen with Berkuk. Yeah, it doesn't happen with Berkuk.
Yes, the big question I saw in the chat a couple times now is like people are asking the difference, and it's like levels. You got Berkuk, which is like your real entry level stuff. Take a step up, you've got Nor, which is just the hallmark. It's the standard. Burley's for assholes like me, and then you've got F-Line over in the corner doing cocaine, not paying attention to the rest of them.
F-Line is
Yeah.
the crazy uncle. in
So
the corner
you
that
know
no
the
one
funny thing too is we keep saying that the look of Tangiers is dark because of the blackstrap molasses. Officially, Tangiers has never ever said it was made out of blackstrap molasses. That is still kind of out there in question mark land.
Yeah. Hard to get
So
full
like
straight
because there's
answers.
other ways to get the dark color of these leaves, and I just don't know that process. I'm not educated enough to know that. So, I mean, take that for what it is. Take it with a grain of salt. But
So moving on from this a little bit, going on to some other parts of the topics when it comes to Tangiers, something that I thought would be an interesting topic is, what is your favorite bowl to use when it comes to smoking Tangiers? I think that we all have certain bowls that we enjoy smoking our Tangiers with. I know I have preferred ones that I like to use my Tangiers with. Do you have a specific Tangiers bowl that you like to use? Do you have a specific style of bowl that you like to use? What is it for you, Adrian? What is your favorite other than the Surrey, or is the Surrey
It is
your
the Surrey.
favorite?
The Surrey is 100%, in my opinion, the best bowl to use Tangiers. It's pretty close. The way it looks like a very refined old Tangiers bowl. It's about the simplest the bowl can get. It's rounded on the inside with a spire. It's very much like the Predator minus the bridge. And the bridge gets tricky if you want to use something like, say, a Provost, because sometimes it'll kind of rise the foil level and the Provost won't sit flush. So if you're doing what most people do and using a Provost with your Tangiers, 80 feet are good. There's a lot of good bowls, but if I have a Surrey available, that's what I'm reaching for every time. 2 rounds of coal. It's simple, and it's a little chode, man. Look at it's a little chode.
What is the part about the Surrey Bowl that you like to use Tangiers the most? Is it because of the fact that even though there is some depth to the Surrey Bowl, it's all very like squeezed together? Because I like to use shallow
saves
bowls.
on tobacco for sure. And I think it has a slightly smaller capacity than like an 80 feet. Probably pretty close to on par with one of the shallower 80/80s. And I like a little more depth than width on a Tangiers Bowl. It's a preference thing.
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely see the argument that people prefer 80/80s. That's totally fine.
Okay.
But yeah, it's simple. It's very easy to pack. This is a no-nonsense bowl. It's a bowl refined to like the most essential parts, and that's about it. So
what about you,
very
Bracken?
good thing.
What is your favorite either bowl or style of bowl that you like to use for Tangiers?
Yeah, I'll mirror what Adrian said. I've never used a Surrey. I don't own a Surrey, but I do own a Predator, so I can speak to the shape of that bowl. My preferred bowl is actually a older 80 feet bowl. Before he started making them shallower. Mine kind of looks a little different. It's a little rounder. It's not quite a square, and it's not as shallow as the 80 feet 80s are. So I really enjoy that because I can smoke on it for 2 hours or more, depending on how I heat manage. The more heat you add, the shorter your duration gets on the bowl. But it's any of those bowls that are kind of your medium to small capacities. And that's just, I'm not at a lounge, right? At the Tangiers Lounge, they use those massive Tangiers large bowls, right? And those bowls are huge. For the at-home smoker, unless you're working from home and you start smoking at like noon or something, do you really want to smoke for that long on a bowl? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But, Tangiers will go the distance, right? It is a marathon of tobaccos. It can last quite a while. And so I gravitate towards those medium, smaller capacity bowls like the 80 feet, like the Surrey, the Predator, the smaller variations of the Stone Bowl, just because it allows me to smoke a flavor and then I can stop and go to bed at a reasonable time or start earlier in the evening and maybe pack a lighter bowl that doesn't last as long. And I don't want to waste a lot of my Tangiers, right? I do like my tobacco. I don't like wasting tobacco. I know Tony's a really big fan of 100% cook-throughs on his bowls. But for me, it's just any of those bowls that are, they have a decent sized spire. They're round. They're a little bit deep, not too deep.
That's
and
interesting.
They got a small circumference.
That's interesting. I feel like I'm the odd man out when it comes to talking about Tangiers bowls because I prefer a much more shallow bowl when it comes to it. Like I prefer there to be a shallowness compared to the width of it, opposite of what Adrian was talking about.
So like an alien.
Like an alien. Like one of my favorite bowls to use for Tangiers is my alien bowls. I love to use my stone bowls. I love to use it's called the Havok bowl that I got when I was in Vegas, and it's basically just a variation of an alien bowl. Like it looks the exact same of a Gen 2 alien bowl. I like to use my 80 feet bowls. In fact, on today's episode, I'm smoking the bowl that I was gifted from Tony, which is an 80 feet 80, and it's a really nice shallow bowl. I do prefer a more shallow bowl when it comes to smoking Tangiers. Like I feel like that's a normal type of smoking for Tangiers and stuff. But I do see not the need, but I do see why people enjoy using a little bit more depth in it as well. I also have a Surrey bowl, and I do like to use my Surrey bowls as well a lot.
You know who I'm interested? Paul.
Yeah.
I don't think you've covered this yet. What about you? What do you gravitate towards as far as like your go-to bowl for Tangiers? Just out of curiosity.
For Tangiers, I have a limestone green 80 foot 80 that I only smoke Tangiers on. That is my favorite one for Tangiers. They're all handcrafted, so each one is going to be a little bit deeper or shallower or whatever it is based on the 80-foot bowl that you get. This one just happens to be the right size. The spire's right. Small capacity. I measured it out with Tangiers of the way that I like to pack, and it holds exactly 15 grams. I can throw Tangiers in there and know exactly how to pack it for that bowl.
Feel real comfortable with packing.
I think that's the reason it's my favorite is because I've smoked Tangiers on it repetitively, so much so that it's become muscle memory when I pick up the bowl and pack it.
You know how to work it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I can pick up a stone bowl, pack Tangiers in it, and it'll smoke just fine, but there's a little bit of finagling or whatever. But if I want like a no-brainer kind of bowl, and I'm smoking Tangiers, I'm going to grab this bowl, and then you're good to go. I know it's going to be perfect smoke. Just because there's been, probably hundreds of bowls of Tangiers packed in that thing.
I think everybody has that bowl
Oh,
that they
yeah.
just
Yeah.
always go to, like
Yeah.
every single time. Like that's the one bowl that like you keep your eye on when your friend's using it, or you know, you if you're drunk, you don't touch it. You know, and it's just like it's not a special bowl in any other variation of the fact that like you just love that bowl, right?
Yeah,
Because
you
like,
just use the crap out
it's-
of it. So there's a little bit of
every
memories
bowl
in there.
being made, even in the same line, is so different, right? Look at stone bowls,
Yeah.
right? They're all slightly different because they're made with hands. You know, the alpaca bowls, they're all slight, but everybody has that one bowl. They're just like, yo, that's my
Yep.
favorite. That's my favorite.
Yeah, this is my whatever that is bowl.
Yeah,
my
and-
bowl.
100%. Back
Yeah,
in the
like-
day, when I smoked a lot of blonde tobaccos, and I still do it to this day, I have a Goodfella V3. That is my go-to for like Alpha Kama, Ezer Blonde. Like every time, that's the bowl.
Yep, I got one of those as well.
Which is crazy. When it comes to a lot of my blonde leaf tobacco, I really like using my Bambino bowl. Even though I know I'm not going to get like as long as a session as I would with a larger bowl and stuff, but that bowl is just fantastic for blonde leaf tobaccos and what I like to smoke with it. You know, the Bambino version 2, which I got, that's another kind of like alien style, like very, very shallow bowl. The hazy bowl that I have is very shallow. I really like my Mason bowl because it is one of those more shallow bowls, even though it looks bigger, but the actual like where you pack your tobacco, it's a very
The
shallow
Mason
bowl.
Onyx or Helix?
The Mason Onyx. I don't have the Helix, even though I do like those. I
Helix
know a
is
lot of people
quite
like
good.
that. For Tangiers, the Helix.
They're hard
Yeah.
to get. They're hard to get.
Very true. Very true.
Tony, we've all been talking about dark leaf bowls. Tony, you typically smoke blonde tobaccos, yeah?
Historically, yeah. I'm kind of on a dark leaf kick now. I'm kind of addicted.
Really?
I guess.
Do
Yeah.
do you change, like in your bowl collection? Do you have bowls that you won't use for dark leaves and bowls that you would? Do you like? Is there a segregation between the bowls that you would use for dark or unwashed
Yeah,
tobacco?
like, I recently picked up a Predator, and thankfully it has a lower bridge, so the Provost works well on it. I use that for Azure. I haven't had a chance to use Tangiers in it, but this mini Rook is my favorite bowl for pretty much like
They're so
everything
good.
from fine cut blondes to Tangiers. Like this bowl performs amazing, and I maybe out of the 5 or so sessions I smoke a week, most of them are out of this thing. These days, I still go for my Turkishes and stuff, but that's not for dark.
You know a bowl is good when you have a cabinet full of 60 bowls, like me, but you keep washing out the same one.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
when you got to go buy more of that same bowl because I completely
Yeah.
agree. So we got a question from the chat real quick because we're almost done with the episode. Actually, this went by really fast again. Hookah Fiend in the chat says, "How many coals you use on those smaller bowls with Tangiers?" Yeah, let's kick it off, Adrian. Now you're a fan of using foil and your bowls, and not so much the Provost as I think. Like me,
Yep.
personally, I use Provost.
You
almost
use the
every time.
Provost every time.
Every time, yeah. You definitely flick it up a little bit more option. The only time, I just want to say it real quick, the only time I use foil and 2 flats for my Tangiers is when I use my Pico bowl. Then
Because a Provost
Ah.
won't fit on that thing.
Yo, so what's the difference between a Pico and a 7 Eco? Because this
The
is
size.
a 7 Eco.
It's slightly
The
smaller.
size.
Slightly
Like,
smaller.
But they're handmade, so there's some blurred walls between
Yeah.
those.
Not only are they handmade, but they were the first funnel bowls handmade. So there
there was no standard.
are a lot
love
of
how-
different variations.
I love how all 3 of us just happen to have it on our desks.
Like
it's
my
Mine's
Uncoordinated.
over there. Sorry.
yeah, I keep my Tangier 7 Eco white bowl on my desk as a paperweight. I don't use it, but it's it's the ultimate bowl in my collection. I'm just so proud of it.
Yeah, your spire
Yeah.
on yours is so tiny. Like mine's tiny, but yours is just like
Yeah, have you ever
yours is
seen those little
big.
tiny
Wow,
coffee
Paul.
straws?
Yours is actually really big,
Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah, the little red guys.
Is it?
Yeah, so when you
Okay.
smoke out of this bowl, it's essentially the same thing as smoking out of 5 coffee straws.
Yep, that adds up.
It is 100. If you like restricted pipes, and you're at my house, I will let you smoke this, but I get a headache because you can't breathe out of
You're
it.
sucking too hard.
All right,
Yeah,
so
for me, it's 2 cubes and a Provost if you're going to use a Provost.
Okay.
I think it's just the most ergonomic way. As long as you're managing it correctly. You shouldn't need to go to 3 flats unless that's your preference, in which case, fucking mazel tov, right? Like, it's just hookah. But if I'm rocking with no foil, I'm a 3 flats kind of guy. You have a ton of... The thing about not using a Provost is a Provost is going to deliver the same session after session. You have a shitload of control when you don't use a Provost. Now, you could control your bowl into the ground and fuck it up, but you could also have some of the best bowls you've ever had. But I'd recommend using 3 flats if you're going to go no Provost, 2 cubes with the Provost. Everyone's probably going to disagree, and they're all correct as well.
Anybody else have advice when it comes to using smaller bowls and your heat?
I think the first question you have to ask is, how are you managing your heat, right? Are you using it, just like Adrian said, are you using it with coil and full on coil? God, I can't ever say that. Coal on foil.
Foil.
Full, are you using the foil coal method? Or are you using a Provost, or you're using a Lotus? Like, are you using a flavor
HMD,
saver? Because I think all those kind of factor into it. For me, it's like I do the 4 cubettes when I'm using a Provost.
Yeah.
But like I said, that depends on the tobacco. If it gets too hot, I'll take one out immediately. Because you don't want to. I don't smoke that hot. I'm not trying to breathe fire over here, but
Yeah, I think for me, the only difference that I would say, or the only variable that I would introduce to that is what coal are you using?
Yep. Definitely.
Because whether you're using Prestige Jumbo Flats, plug, Superior Cocos, double plug, Golden Deserts, another plug, titaniums, whatever coals you're using, they're going to have a different heat output, right? If you're using Superior Greens, for example, they're fairly low heat, or if you're using, let's say, Cocoa Earths, they're more in the high heat end, right? So to me, that plays a factor in how many coals I'm going to put on my bowl. Also, depending again on whether I underpacked it, I overpacked it, or I packed it even with the spire or just above. Whether it's dense, fully compacted, semi or 75% compacted, whatever that is, I will choose. However, I pack that bowl, I will then choose my coal of choice or that certain pack method, depending on the way I smoke. Normally, if I'm smoking Tangiers and I just go boom, I grab my 80-foot 80 and I dense it in there, 100% compaction. I usually do it underpacked. I'll stick the foil in and I use a Provost. Those are my go-tos, right? I will normally use 2 coals. Okay. Caveat to that, if I want to, I will use 3 cubettes.
Interesting. Okay.
Or Stonehenge flats.
So I mean, as bad and good as an answer as that probably was, the main answer is getting to. I think the biggest part of that answer is get to know the heat of the coal that you like to use.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the most important part, because each coal is so different, especially if you want to go from 2 to 3. Even if you want to use 1, depending on the size of your bowl, like figure out like how can you make this heat work for you. I know there's those 1 heat bowl HMD things that some people have used.
Okay, yeah.
They don't work for me. I got 2 of them.
You never know. I don't know. I'm not here to judge.
I agree with you 100%, Matt. Yeah. The best way is just to get in there and burn a couple bowls, figuring it out.
100%.
Yes. That's the only way you can learn. And I think we all kind of went through that, right? You can have as many friends or as many people on the internet telling you how to do it as you want, but they're not there with you. They're not holding your tongs. Right? You're the one driving. So if you burn the bowl, figure out why it burned and try not to burn it the next time. Maybe you get closer and closer. I mean, how many kilos or how many 250s of Tangiers have we burned through? When the first time, like when you first buy the brand, you're like, oh, I'm going to throw it in there. And you're like, whoa, no, I can't see straight. And then you pack it in there dense and you put too much heat on there. You're like, yeah, this tastes like a bad cigar. Like everybody goes through it. And if you're not burning your bowls to learn how to do it, then you're really kind of missing the opportunity.
Yeah. You got
I guess it's like, if you want like a standard answer, I think the first question you have to ask is kind of like, how does that individual like to smoke?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that you don't know that until you learn how it is that you like to smoke, which can sometimes take a little while.
It takes a little bit
for flavor and strength and all those kinds of things. Well, thank you guys so much for being a part of the AM Hookah Podcast. This has been a fantastic episode. It's been a rundown. It's lasted 2 whole episodes. If you guys did not watch part 1 of this, I highly recommend you go and check that episode out as well. It was a really good time. It was so much stuff to try and get through that we actually had to break it into this second episode as well. So if you guys are looking for more Tangiers talk, we have that for you, including back in season 2 where we actually talked to Frank Simmons of Tangiers, OG of Tangiers. Not that he like works for Tangiers, but what I'm saying is he's known for Tangiers. So if you guys are looking for even more Tangiers talk, we have plenty of that stuff to cover right here on the AM Hookah Podcast. And I even dropped a review last week of my personal opinion of the cherry limeade, which I am a very big fan of. I think that it's a great tasting flavor. But that is going to do it for the AM Hookah Podcast today. So let's go ahead and let everyone know where they can find us. AM Hookah Podcast is all over the internet. Obviously, you can find us over on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. Make sure you hang out and check out our Facebook so you can see all the beautiful pictures that gets posted there all the time. Be a part of the conversation. You can check out the Brack Daddy podcast happening happening every Monday right before the podcast actually starts right here on YouTube. So do check out that as always. But yeah, that's where you can find all the shenanigans that the AM Hookah Podcast are doing. What about you, Adrian? Where can people find you if they're looking for you?
You want to watch some videos I've done? Go check out Pipe Dream Hookah. It's all hookah related, baby. It'll be good for you. You want to find me on the Instagram and the Twitter? Don't. But if you have to, _Pipe Dream. And if you want to find me on Facebook, fucking figure it out. I've said my name like 9 times and you can see my face.
There you go. Don't ever forget it. Don't ever forget it. What
the
about
best intro ever.
what about
He had-
what about you, Bracken? Where can people find you on the internet?
Well, if you're looking for some AM content that includes me, you can find me on the AM Hookah page. Foreplay with the Pack Daddy? I don't know. We're still figuring out a name.
I like that one.
You can also find me moderating Hookah University, and me and my wife started an Instagram page a month ago. Go give us a follow. It's Pack It, Poke It, Smoke It. You can find us on Instagram there. Otherwise, just find me on the internet and ask me your questions, and I'll give you bad answers.
What about you, Paul? Where can people find you on the internet?
I reside mostly in Hookah University, but you guys can find me at Hookah University, at Hookah Enthusiast, or at Hookah John Circle of Friends. We also have a Hookah University webpage and YouTube channel and a what is that thing with the pictures? Instagram.
Oh, and what's
We
your
have a- we have
What
an
is that
Instagram.
thing with the
That-
pictures?
Yeah, the thing with the pictures on Instagram is hookah_UNIV.
and what's your home address?
It is hookahuniv.com.
Ooh, there you go.
No, I mean like where you live.
No, that's where he lives.
Oh.
That's it. That's it.
Well, it is 1, 2, 3, 4. Fuck you.
Oh, good one.
Ah! Fantastic. All right. And then what about you, Tony? Do you want people to find you on the internet? If they want to challenge you to another one chip challenge, where can they find you, Tony?
The undefeated champ of the North resides in Canada. Lots of moose and igloos up here. You can find me in the Hookah University Facebook group. Hookah John. Basically the same stuff that Paul just said. Like that. Find me.
Find
That's
him.
it.
Find him. Tony, I
Yeah.
can't say...
Okay, Liam Neeson me.
I cannot say thank you enough, Tony, for coming over and doing the one chip challenge on the show. We appreciate it so very much. Hashtag Tony is a legend because you're the man. You're the vice president forever and ever. Thank you guys so much for watching the AM Hookah Podcast. We appreciate it. We're a live podcast show here every single Monday on YouTube, 6:30 Central Standard Time, here to talk about the world of hookah and so much more. So hopefully you guys are able to always stop by. We're also an audio podcast as well. And I saw a couple people rocking the audio podcast this last week on Facebook, and I appreciate that. If you guys like to listen to audio podcasts, let us know where you like to listen to it. I appreciate that.
Yeah, shout out to whoever posted they were an Uber driver and they were forcing
It was
the people
Tommy.
in their Uber
It was
to listen
That's
to the
awesome.
podcast.
It was the
so-
Hookologist. It was the Hookologist. I heard
Good-
he had his
good
best.
idea.
What do you guys listen to on your audio platforms?
What podcast
I-
do I listen to?
Well,
Yeah, I
Pornography.
usually listen to if I'm listening to the podcast, I'll listen to it on Stitcher.
Oh, I use Google Play Music, Google Play, what's it called? Google Play Podcast, I guess is what it's called.
I don't
Okay.
listen to our podcast because that's fucking weird.
I like to check and make sure the quality's okay, but I'm weird, so I'm okay with that.
I use Spotify.
Spotify,
So, yeah.
okay.
Spotify.
There you go.
All right, get the fuck out of here, guys. We're
All right.
leaving.
All right, goodbye, guys. Have a good one. Thank you so much for watching and being part of the show. Until next time, keep on smoking. Bye.